Paths of Glory, one of Stanley Kubrick's earlier movies, starring Kirk Douglas. It was also one of the first major movies to take on the subject of World War One, and also really one of the first truly anti-war movies overall. The story focuses on the French side of the trenches. At the beginning of the film, we see the top generals order the army units to strike at a fortified German position and capture it without much support or even a solid plan on how to do it. Basically, just run through no man's land, through the machine gun fire, and get it done. The mission is a catastrophe, as could be expected. A lot of people die, the position is not captured, and the furious general, whose promotion depended on the success of the operation, orders a court martial for randomly selected soldiers from each of the battalions that took part in the operation. But their direct commanding officer, who is in real life a lawyer, he's played by Kirk Douglas, decides to try and defend those soldiers during a trial. So I'll just go ahead and say I loved the film. I think it's absolutely brilliant in its portrayal of war as something really, really fucked up, and crucially not because of the atrocities that happened on the front itself, but even more so because of the bureaucracy and flawed leadership. I'd say the central point that the movie is successfully making is that war is waged by old rich politicians sitting comfortably in their safe mansions and enjoying the luxuries of peacetime. All the while, the young and the naive are left to die in ditches. I couldn't help but think of Dylan's song Masters of War, written just 6 years after the release of this film. It really is oddly similar in terms of its themes and message. What the film is really impressive at, though, is how efficient it is at developing those themes as well as the characters of the story. There's like 8 important characters in the movie at least, and despite the fact that some of them get very little runtime, after all, the film itself is just 88 minutes long, at all times we know perfectly who each of them is. Who are they as people, their true character, as it were. I'd say there is not a single line of dialogue, not a single shot wasted in the film. Every single second serves to move the story forward, to add something. Also, the movie is technically very well made. It's shot in black and white, but what's even more noticeable is the Kubrick trademark, the camera moving along with the characters. There are multiple scenes where both the camera and the characters are on the move together in a long, unbroken shot. And that means that the scenes are dynamic and lively, even if otherwise it's just dialogue. The way that it's put to screen really elevates the source material. Most notably, there are the trenches scenes with camera backing up and the people moving toward it, which was a huge inspiration between similar scenes in 1917, the Sam Mendes movie, which also impressed with its cinematography. Really, I think there's not much else to say here other than the fact that I think everyone should watch this movie at least once. I think it's one of the best made cases against war and against how war is waged, the dichotomy between the actual soldiers and the people in charge. It has a great, terrifying but great message. It's got great performances and dialogue. It's shot in a beautiful and dynamic way, and it is a terrific example of very efficient filmmaking. Excellent stuff.